Hello everyone, welcome to this special report. I'll be discussing Corr, a very interesting token. Why am I talking about it today? I'm telling you for two reasons. The first is that I believe the narrative of all narratives in the medium to long term is DeFi on Bitcoin. This theme is just starting. We know Staxx well. You know, it's a token I really like. We also have CKB, which recently shifted to this niche, so there aren't many players. There's a third one called Corr, plus it's a project from this cycle launched in 2023. It's been falling, but I think it could perform well alongside CKB, especially since its chart is saturated. It's dropped a lot. It hasn't recovered at all compared to CKB. I think it could follow CKB's path. So TVL on Bitcoin is exciting. It's easy to see why. DeFi on Bitcoin is truly captivating. It's mathematical and simple. Ethereum's worth about 300 billion, so when you do DeFi there, you're working with 300 billion. But with Bitcoin, you're dealing with 1,200 billion, 4 times more. So Bitcoin's DeFi TVL will surpass Ethereum's. This Corr guy, of course, is biased and says 2 years. It's possible, but long-term Bitcoin DeFi could be hugely profitable. That's why CKB boomed recently. I think Corr is less known, yet it was released recently and its graph is really interesting. But that's the key issue for me. If you have this belief, and I strongly do, that Bitcoin will be around in 20 years, will other projects exist? I'm not sure. But Bitcoin and DeFi on Bitcoin will be here in 20 years. It's one of the few certainties we have in this space. So Corr is doubly interesting because it operates on Bitcoin, which is technically very important. It means transactions are finalized and validated on Bitcoin, plus the upper layer, and this is fascinating. It's EVM-compatible, which is why it's so groundbreaking. Everything done on Ethereum could be done on Corr, plus validated and finalized by Bitcoin. So this is really huge for me, and it's also a mixed system, meaning it's similar to what happens on Tailbit Tensor, where you have both miners and a proof of stake component as it's EVM compatible, but ultimately validates transactions on Bitcoin, which is technically very important. It's worth noting that it's quite expensive, valued at 865 million, with 43% of tokens diluted. Being realistic, I'm looking at 2025 when we might be at 50%, not 2 billion, but it's already worth 1 billion considering that. CKB is worth 600, so this is about 50% more. Keep that in mind. How high can it go? It's hard to predict this token's future because it's so innovative. Looking at the chart, we can see potential timeframes. What I'm saying is that if we examine the chart, it's typical for ICOs. I think the target will simply be the previous high when it was listed, giving us a $20 target, which would be exceptional. On the chart, where's Corr? It's in 75th position, up 115%. A year ago, it was 38 cents, making a nice 10x gain. We'll see, it's lost a lot. I think we're at levels where it's saturated here, and now we're seeing curves common in altcoins lately with this kind of pattern. Often it's a reverse shoulder, head, shoulder, then it takes off. I think CKB is on this path. If it explodes in less than a week, gaining 50%, you'll remember me. As for comparable tokens, Staxx is on a great trend, shoulder, head, shoulder, and ready to take off, but slightly behind CKB. CKB has absolutely exploded. It's gone through the roof completely. Now we'll watch what it does next. I suspected it might flag a bit here, meaning it'll move sideways around these levels, around 13, 14, I think, for maybe 2 or 3 days. Perhaps after the Fed's decision, boom, we'll see CKB take off. We're starting to see some nice movement, but it's crazy that it's already battling with the 200-day moving average. So it's ahead of Staxx, but I'm very confident in Staxx too. For CKB, these 2 lines I'm watching. For Corr, I have a tiny position. What's interesting about Corr is there's not much chart history, so we won't spend too long on it. What I'm noting isn't guaranteed of success. I think it could hit 30. Imagine people who are stuck. They bought at 30, now they're down 97%. They bought on the first day. Innovative project, EVM compatible on Bitcoin. On paper, it's honestly unique. It's new, but it's been falling. What we'll do is look at just the weekend, focusing on the first week. We can see it fell and fell, hitting a low of 0.42. Then it exploded nicely. That's what I like. It did a 10x, then dropped. I think it won't go lower. It's saturating in this zone, saturating well. Obviously, what will happen is that this zone will hold, but if there's a sell the news with the Fed, that's the key thing to keep in mind. Anyway, something you should do now if you want to buy. Allocate 50% before the Fed and 50% after the Fed too, 3 days later. For me, there's a channel that could serve as a rebound. We see it weekly and then simply look. 1, 2, 3. We're really saturating at 0.83 levels. I bought around $1 this summer, and now we're about exactly at the same levels. I think it's a very interesting level. It's a great project. As I wanted to say in the intro, DeFi on Bitcoin is the topic that excites me most long term, simply because you can see right now all the institutions are coming to Bitcoin long term. I think these are interesting projects. There aren't many. I'm in 3. Let me know if you know others, but for me these are the main ones, especially following what happened with CKB. My bet on this project is that it might perform like KKB did in the coming days or weeks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this brief overview. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me tremendously. That's all, folks.